members of the public to take a seat, and members of council to take a seat. We'll begin the meeting in 1 minute. On va commencer la réunion dans 1 minute. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Bienvenue à la réunion du Conseil municipal.
Welcome to City Council meeting for February 27, 2019, rather.
27th of February 2019. This is the meeting that we're holding today because of the cancellation during one of the many big snowstorms we had this winter. So thank you all for joining us. For those who are able to, please rise for a moment of personal reflection and remain standing for the national anthem. And if you could remain standing, Councillor Deans will introduce our very special guest. I think this is the biggest group of people who've come to sing O Canada, and we're very proud of the police choir. You perform at a number of great events that I have the honour of attending as mayor, and thank you for being with us. Councillor Deans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure for me to introduce members of the Ottawa Police Chorus who will sing our national anthem this morning. The Ottawa Police Chorus was formed in 1972 by Chief Leo Sagan. Their initial purpose was to perform at police funerals and other Ottawa Police Service-related ceremonies and functions. Their mission now is to enhance the image of the Ottawa Police Service through song. Directed by Jeff Linklater and with Carol Gorofsky as accompanist, the chorus performs throughout the year at a wide variety of events. Recently, the Ottawa Police Chorus sang at the inaugural ceremony of the Ottawa City Council meeting in December 2018. This year, the Ottawa Police Chorus celebrates 47 years of singing and serving the community. Today, the chorus, numbering close to 50, reflects the multicultural community served by the Ottawa Police Service. It is the music, the magic, and the song that is the motivation for the chorus to serve as ambassadors of the Ottawa Police Service in our communities. I know that these members are delighted to be here today to sing our national anthem, so please join me in welcoming the Ottawa Police Chorus as today's Voices of Council.
Well, thank you very, very much, Ottawa Police Chorus. You were wonderful, very lively edition of our national anthem, so thank you very, very much. I have the pleasure of presenting the Mayor's City Builder Award to two exceptional individuals in our community today because our meeting a little while ago was canceled. Nous passons aujourd'hui à une cérémonie.
We have a special ceremony of the City Builder Award today. Each of the recipients honored today personifies the qualities of a city builder.
Recognizes people who have demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to making our city a better place through volunteerism and exemplary action. I'm pleased to extend a warm welcome to the family, friends, and associates of our honored guests who are here today. It's a pleasure at this time to invite Lynn Stacey to come forward, and pleased to welcome Councillor Matt Luloff and Cumberland Councillor Stephen Blais to join us for the presentation. So, Ms. Stacey, nice to have you here, and Mr. Stacey, a former councillor in Cumberland, good to have you and members of your family as well. There's Matt, and they're sharing you. They're
Yes.
both here. Lynn Stacey has been volunteering and contributing in her community for literally decades, and she is the epitome of a city builder. As a longtime resident of the East End, Lynn has been involved in many organizations as a tireless volunteer who always has time to help those in need. Her enthusiasm and her willingness to work on community initiatives inspires others and brings the community closer together. Par son enthousiasme,
Her enthusiasm and her willingness to work on community initiatives inspires others and brings the community closer together.
Lynn has been a Grow Guide leader and a pianist at Queenswood Heights Church for 40 years. She organized the Cumberland Community Singers in 1992 and then set up the Crosstown Youth Chorus 20 years ago. She is the choir manager and treasurer and has organized the Orleans Choir Fest for the last 33 years, with proceeds from the event going to local food banks. Lynn is a founding member of the Navan Curling Club, a Legion member, and she runs 4 pool classes each week for cancer and physio clients. She ran a safe home for 15 years to help youth who had run away from home, and she is still a host family for the Rotary Club's annual Adventure and Citizenship program, which is a great annual tradition here in Ottawa. Lynn has done so much for the community for so many years. She was recognized with the Governor General's Caring Canadian Award in 2007. Depuis plusieurs années, Lynn apporte beaucoup de la communauté et en
And in 2007, she received the Governor General's Caring Canadian Award.
Community and her city, and continues to use her talents to make a difference. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Lynn for her many contributions to the entire community. J'aimerais cesser.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Lynn for her many contributions to the community.
My pleasure on behalf of Councillor Blais and Councillor Luloff to present you with the Mayor's City Builder Award. Thanks for all you do. Really appreciate it.
First of all, thank you very much, Mayor. I am very, very honored. I also want to thank my family and friends for coming over there. And there's a proverb that's out there that is very indicative of all volunteers for the whole city of Ottawa. And this is what it says: it is your attitude and not your amplitude that helps you to reach your altitude. Thank you very much.
Well said. That's a great saying. Thank you very, very much, Lynn. Thank you, councillors, and thank you, Lynn and family. I'm now pleased to welcome Dylan Black to the podium, along with Ward Councillor for Canada South, Alan Hubley, and College Ward Councillor Rick Shirelli. Welcome, Dylan, and Councillors Hubley and Shirelli. Also sharing Dylan today. Congratulations. Now, there's probably not many people in the city that don't know Dylan Black from his work as a successful television host and radio host and his great community activism, because he truly is a city builder. And it's a pleasure to recognize him on behalf of our colleagues on City Council, Dylan. And there's Max. Max is happy. A chance encounter with Max Keeping in 1995 inspired him to move to Ottawa and become involved with radio broadcasting. Now, in addition to being a talented and engaging personality at Boom FM and the host of Daytime Ottawa at Rogers TV, which I never get invited on, by the way, but I'm not bitter. He's a humanitarian and a philanthropist who supports many, many great causes. That meeting with Max Keeping inspired his enthusiasm to serve his community, and Dylan now spends much of his time attending and hosting charitable events, and I know because I see him at dozens of them every month. He's a dedicated supporter of CHEO and has participated in 21 telethons. Dylan is the Director of Community Events and Fundraising at Yuck Yuck's Comedy Club, and he continues to be a huge supporter of the Children's Wish Foundation and the Max Keeping Fund at CHEO. He's raised more than $15,000 through various Movember campaigns and more than $3,700 for the Breast Cancer Society of Canada through Boom Radio. His annual birthday extravaganza has collected close to $10,000 for various charities, including Tyson's Mission to a Million. And Tyson made that lofty goal, which was great, in large part thanks to Dylan. Dylan is an honorary board member of Ability First Ottawa and served as the 2018 honorary chair for the TELUS Walk for the Cure, a title he's held for 4 years. In 2015, Dylan was presented with a United Way Community Builder Award. And in 2017, he was nominated as Best Community Builder and MC of the Year. That same year, he received the Max Keeping Award for Ottawa Humanitarian of the Year and was awarded the prestigious Chorus Show We Care Award. He's a true community builder, a city builder, and continues to make a huge difference in people's lives in and around our community. He's always ready to lend his support to a good cause and assist in any way he can. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dylan for his many contributions to the entire community.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dylan for his many contributions to the entire community.
Dylan.
Okay, all right, well, whew. First of all, thank you very much, Mayor Watson. Thank you very much, Councillor Hubley and Councillor Shirelli. And I can say that Rick Shirelli and Jim Watson have two things in common. They met my son Max in a food court for the first time. So that's kind of just a little fun note for your Twitter right there. Okay, so I do want to thank obviously a bunch of people for allowing this to happen. And first of all, my employers, because I truly believe without them, through my 22-year career in radio and TV, I wouldn't have the platform that I have to go out into the community and do what I do. So thank you very much. My team from Boom 99.7 is here. Chorus Entertainment, thank you. I know that Rogers TV is broadcasting this right now, so thank you very much to Rogers Communications. And Howard with Yuck Yucks is here as well, and he allows me to do many great things for our community. I did start back in high school when I was student council president, and Jim mentioned Max Keeping, and Max drove all the way in from Ottawa to MC our variety show that year, and we raised thousands of dollars for the food bank, and it did spark something inside me. And all these years later, I just love getting out there and making a difference any way I can. And into my 30s, I'm 41 now, I started thinking, you know, a lot of people sometimes walk the earth and wonder what their purpose is, and mine is just to do what I can to get out there every day and make a difference. And at the end of the day, you can say you did it or you didn't do it, and anytime somebody asks me to be somewhere, I try to do my best to say yes and be there. So I just think that's important to be a yes person. My family is here as well, including little Max, and if I can just say one quick mention about Max, things did change definitely when he was born July 11th, 2017, because now I feel like I'm trying to leave a legacy behind every time I do something, and so little Max can be proud of Daddy someday. So thank you very much for coming, everybody, and I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dylan, and family and friends and colleagues from Boom. It's now my pleasure to announce the completion of yet another successful City of Ottawa United Way employee campaign. I know that Joanne Chianello is always very happy when we have 3 or 4 ceremonial events, so I try to please her every council meeting. And I'd ask Michael Allen, the President and CEO of the United Way, Marc Belanger, Senior Manager, Workplace Philanthropy, Steve Kanalakis, Dan Chenier, Rainer Boutet, and members of the campaign team. Who's here from the campaign team? We hope you all come up here. Big celebration we're about to announce. Welcome, bienvenue, thank you. How are you? Hi, Michael. Nice to see you. Anyone else here from the campaign team? Who was the council liaison, Dan?
There wasn't one.
There was? Oh, that's right, okay. So I'd like to thank each and every city employee who worked on the campaign, participated in many fundraising events and activities, and donated to the United Way Centraide Ottawa. Je voudrais remercier
I'd like to thank each and every city employee who worked on the campaign, participated in many fundraising events.
Incredible success here at the City of Ottawa. We continued to build on the momentum from last year's successful transition to a new online platform. And as a result, it was with pleasure that I'm pleased to announce that the 2018 United Way employee campaign here at the City of Ottawa has raised $340,160.80, which is $40,000 over our goal of $300,000. So congratulations, City of Ottawa employees. This amount will benefit the lives of 1,057 Ottawa residents. This is a huge achievement and speaks volumes about the commitment and enthusiasm city employees have for this annual campaign. Il s'agit d'une immense réalisation.
This is a huge achievement and speaks volumes about the commitment and enthusiasm of city employees for the campaign.
Corporate charity of choice for the City of Ottawa in 2001. The city has raised almost $9 million. Yeah, that's a big number, Max. $7 million for United Way Centraide. And giving to the United Way, as we know when we see the signs, 100% of the money stays locally in our community. The work accomplished every day by city employees and the achievements of the United Way Centraide Ottawa continue to go hand in hand to improve the lives of thousands of Ottawa residents. So thank you, City of Ottawa employees, and I'd ask Michael Allen, who does such a great job for the community as President and CEO of the Centraide United Way in Ottawa, to say a few words. Michael.
Merci, Monsieur Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Watson, congratulations, Dylan, and Max was the same kind of cheerleader that the other Max was for United Way. So thank you very much for thinking of your legacy in that way. This is the first opportunity that I've had to be in front of the full council of the since the election last fall, although many councillors, of course, we have a strong relationship with. But I want to underscore that we'll be coming to your offices and providing an opportunity to meet with you, just to underscore why it is that the City of Ottawa has selected the United Way as its charity of choice. It is not a function of the strong sentiment appointments I don't think that many, including the mayor and those in front of you, have. It is certainly aided by that, but it is really a function of how deeply integrated the work of United Way is with the agenda that we have in common about making our community, our city, a stronger place. And if I can just reflect on the awards that were presented this morning, the wall of inspiration that we have out in the hall, and the campaign itself, which I would be remiss to not talk about its success, which I shall in a moment. But the fact that the City of Ottawa, I believe, distinguishes itself in terms of the place it holds for the work of community, whether it's recognition of the leaders throughout the city, its campaign, where it's placed on the agenda more formally, its participation in our community builders, its own city builders recognition. There is a very distinct, conscious and deliberate recognition that the work that is done by the community sector in this community is something that would not make our community as strong as it is without that recognition and support. So Mayor Watson, thank you for that leadership. Thank you to the leadership around the community, around the council table, and we will continue to build on that. I just have to remember the fall and the challenge we had around responding to the tornadoes that hit, and really, well, we can always do better. The immense collaboration and coming together as a community to deal with those kinds of challenges is something that we can be proud of as a community. In terms of this year's campaign, it's true that the City of Ottawa has always had tremendous campaigns. In some quarters more strong than others. It won't surprise you that where some of your leaders at the front here have worked and apply their efforts in community services and parks, those campaigns are by far the strongest. I know that in speaking with Raynor, she has ambitions to spread that right across the city, but the fact that you have, for the first time in a number of years now, exceeded, indeed smashed through the goal that you set for yourself is really a tribute to their leadership and the commitment of those volunteers that support this campaign. So it is with our tremendous gratitude that we appreciate not only the campaign results this year, but the relationship that we have and the special place that the city holds for the work of the community sector. Thank you very much for your support. And I think we announced earlier, and I think I was on my way in, a number of councillors acknowledged that a familiar face to many around the City Council. He knows where you all live, so next year you can expect that he'll be upon you. And thank you very much again for your support. Thank you, Mayor.
Right. Thank you. Thank you all very much to our guests for being with us this morning. A roll call, please, Madam Deputy Clerk.
Councillor Luloff.
Ici.
Councillor Dudas.
Here.
Councillor Harder.
Here.
Councillor Suds.
Here.
Councillor El Shantiri.
Present.
Councillor Gower.
Here.
Councillor Kavanagh. Councillor Shirelli.
Here.
Councillor Eglai.
Here.
Councillor Deans.
Here.
Councillor Tierney.
Present.
Councillor Fleury.
Ici.
Councillor McKenney.
Present.
Councillor Leeper. Councillor Brockington.
Here.
Councillor Menard.
Here.
Councillor Cloutier.
Present.
Councillor Blais.
Here.
Councillor DeRose. Councillor Moffat.
Here.
Councillor Meehan.
Here.
Councillor Hubley.
Here.
Mayor Watson.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Confirmation of minutes, adoption de procès-verbaux for the regular council meeting of January 30th, 2019, and the special council meeting of February 6, 2019. Carried. Adopté. A declaration of interest, including those originally arising from prior meetings, déclaration de conflit d'intérêt. There are none. Communications as presented. Regrets, absence. Councillor George DeRose and Councillor Jeff Leeper advised that they would be absent from the City Council meeting of February 27th, 2019. A motion to introduce reports. Motion portant présentation de rapport. Councillor Hughley, seconded by Councillor McKenney, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That the following reports be received and considered. Report from the Ottawa Community Housing Corporation entitled Ottawa Community Housing Corporation Confirmation and Re-election of the Chair. The report from the Ottawa Police Services Board entitled Board Activity, Training and Performance 2018 Annual Report. The report from the Selection Panel, Ottawa Police Service Board entitled Appointment, Ottawa Police Service Board. Report from the Selection Panel from the Ottawa Community Lands Development Corporation Board of Directors entitled Appointment to the Ottawa Community Lands Development Corporation Board of Directors. Report from the Selection Panel of the Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority entitled Appointments to the Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority. Report from the Selection Panel of the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority entitled Appointments to the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority. Report from the Selection Panel from the South Nations Conservation entitled Appointment to the South Nation Conservation. Report from the City Clerk and Solicitor entitled Status Update, Council Inquiries and Motions for the period ending February 22nd, 2019. And Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee Report 1. Committee and Protective Services Committee Report 1. Standing Committee of the Environmental Protection, Water and Waste Management Report 1. Finance and Economic Development Committee Report 1. Planning Committee Report 2, Transit Commission Report 1 and 1A, and the report from the City Clerk and Solicitor entitled Summary of Oral and Written Public Submissions for Items Subject to the Planning Act Explanation Requirements at the City Council meeting of January 30th, 2019. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
It's a long motion. Thank you, Councillor Hughley. On the motion? Carried. Adopté. Merci. Reports. Rapport Ottawa Community Housing Corporation, Société de Logement Communautaire d'Ottawa. There's no presentation, but it's a confirmation of re-election of chair. Yeas and nays? No. I want to recognize Stéphane Giguère, who's the president and is doing great work with Councillor Fleury as chair and the board of directors and all your staff. So we had a good turnout of housing providers this morning at the Councillors Lounge, and I thank you for being there. On the report, carried. Thank you. Ottawa Police Services Board, I believe we have Councillor Dean's a technical issue.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just wondering if we could hold this for now. The selection panel met and selected Sandy Smallwood, who is currently a board member, as an excellent choice, very strong member of the board. But we did not have a discussion about waiving the rules to add an additional 2 years to the term, and that's what this is recommending. So I'm not sure how to deal with that unless we just do the approval now, and we could come back at the next meeting if we want to make a change. Would that be reasonable?
Yes, I don't know what happens to Mr. Smallwood. Does he stay on the board in this
for 2
interim
years.
period?
The appointment's for 2 years.
Okay, so Mr. City Solicitor, on the issue of can we defer this until the board has a chance to determine what the length of term is going to be for Mr. Smallwood, and he can just continue on since he's at least 2 years?
Or we could just approve the 2 years now, and we could come back with an extension if that's what the selection panel recommends.
Either way, Mr. Mayor, that would be appropriate under the circumstances.
Thank you.
This one's from. Yeah, so that's item number 3. So item number 2 is received. The Board Activity, Training and Performance Annual Report received. And then appointment of the Police Services Board. I guess, can we just put it, sorry, but
just delete the part including the waiver, and then we'll come back if we want to extend. Okay?
And I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay. On that, carried. Appointments, the Ottawa Community Lands Development Corporation, Councillor Harder, and Deputy Mayor Dudas has a motion. I believe it's technical in nature. Councillor Harder, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With regard to the Ottawa Community Lands Development Corporation, because we're the sole voting member of the Ottawa Community Land Development Corporation, it's under our purview to change the makeup of it. And so what we're saying is, whereas namely it shall be composed of 6 members consisting of 4 city council directors and 2 non-council directors, and whereas the board of directors of the corporation, which is new, we did not have non-council members in the last term, whereas the board of directors of the corporation passed a special resolution on January 24th implementing this change in composition and adopting bylaw number 2, which appeals and replaces section 3.01 of bylaw number 1, and this resolution must now be confirmed by the sole voting member being council. That's why this is before you today, and be it therefore resolved that as a special resolution, the total number of city council directors shall be 4, and the total number of non-council directors shall be 2.
Okay, Councillor Brockington is, I don't see his name up there. Is this system working? Is the system working?
I didn't press the button to...
no, I still don't see you, though, on my monitor. But anyways, go ahead.
I don't have any questions regarding the motion that Councillor Harder moved. I just have a question, though. Is it the intention to fill the vacancy on this board when Councillor Nussbaum resigned with the new councillor when they're elected? Is that the plan?
I don't think that's been decided at this point. We have not formally had a meeting. We've actually been engaged through the process. Were you on it last time? Well, there is a process that's a legal process that we do follow to get us to this point, but we have not had our first meeting to elect a chair or vice chair, for example, and I would say that that's when that would be undertaken, correct, Mr. O'Connor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So on the Harder-Dudas motion, carried. On the report recommendation as amended, carried. Thank you. Appointments to the Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority. Nomination à l'Office de protection de la nature de la Vallée Mississippi. Carried. Appointments to the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority. Nomination à l'Office de protection de la nature de la Vallée Rideau. Carried. Appointments to South Nation Conservation. Nomination à Conservation de la Nation Sud. On the report, they recommended 2 people. Carried. Status update. Council inquiries and motions for the period ending February 22nd. Rapport de situation, demande de renseignement et motion conseil pour la période terminée le 22 février 2019. Received. Committee reports, rapport des comités. Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee Report 1, rapport numéro 1 du Comité de l'Agriculture et des Affaires Rurales. Item 9, Site Plan Control Process and Fees Review. Carried. Zoning Bylaw Amendment, 1500 Thomas Argue Road. Modification de règlement de zonage, 1500 Chemin Thomas Argue. Carried. Zoning Bylaw Amendment, 2800 Moody Drive. Modification au règlement de zonage de 1800 Promenade. Carried. Item 12, City of Ottawa Zoning Bylaws 2008-250 Omnibus Amendments Q1 2019 Règlement, excusez-moi, général de zonage 2008-250 Modification d'ordre général Q1 2019. Carried. Community and Protective Service Committee Report number 1, rapport numéro 1 du Comité des services communautaires et de protection. Item 13, Community and Protective Services Committee Terms of Reference, mandat du Comité des services communautaires. Councillor Fleury has a motion, seconded by Councillor Suds. Councillor Fleury, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Maire. Whereas the Community and Protective Service Committee Terms of Reference list heritage as one of the issue that falls within the mandate of the committee, whereas the Built Heritage Subcommittee, which does not report to CPSC, continues to have oversight for matters related to built heritage and matters related to the Ontario Heritage Act, whereas the specific responsibilities section of the CPS Terms of Reference already specify that this committee will continue to have responsibility for developing partnerships with and provide funding to community groups in the recreation, arts, heritage, and cultural sectors, as well as providing overall guidance and direction on matters related to arts, culture, affairs, and museums. Therefore, be it resolved that the mandates section of the terms of reference be revised to replace Parks, Recreation, Culture, Programming, Heritage with Parks, Recreation, Culture, Museums, and Heritage Programmings, to clarify that this does not include the matters under the jurisdiction of the Build Heritage Committee.
Okay, Councillor Harder, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to point out, because I verified with Councillor Gower, who chairs the Built Heritage, that he had no knowledge of this. It's the second time since we've had people in place of chair in his case, and I just want to alert staff to the fact that anything to do with heritage, and certainly he should have been apprised of this before hearing it on the floor today. So I would just ask whoever that was should take that into consideration, please.
Great, thank you. Good point. On the motion by Councillor Fleury, carried. On the recommendation as amended, carried. Adopté. Merci. Item 14, appointments to the Accessibility Advisory Committee. Nomination au Comité consultatif sur l'accessibilité. We have the members of the committee that are before you and the reserve members. Carried. And I'd like to thank Councillor Luloff, who has offered to be the council liaison for this advisory committee. Thank you very much. Item 15, appointment to the Arts, Culture and Recreation Advisory Committee. Nomination au Comité consultatif sur les arts, la culture et la récréation. The names of the nominated candidates are before you. Any questions on the motion? Carried. Je veux dire merci beaucoup à Conseiller Fleury.
I'd like to thank Councillor Fleury, who will be the liaison for council on this committee. Thank you, Councillor.
Committee on Environmental Protection, Water and Waste Management Report number 1, rapport numéro 1 du Comité de la protection de l'environnement et de l'eau et de la gestion des déchets. Item number 16 is Standing Committee on Environmental Protection, Water and Waste Management Terms of Reference. Carried. Item 17, appointments to the Environmental Stewardship Advisory Committee. Nomination au Comité consultatif sur la gérance environnementale. We have a technical amendment by Councillor Moffat, seconded by Councillor Eglai. Councillor Moffat, please.
Thank you. Since this committee was formed in 2012, and two of the members before us have been on it for 6 years, and there's a limit of 8 years. It's just a waiver to permit them to stay on the committee for the next full term of council. So therefore be resolved that council waive the appointment policy requirements for Mr. Bill Eggertson and Mr. Chris Nanda as set out above in the motion for the Environmental Stewardship Advisory Committee.
Okay, on the motion, carried. Adopté. Merci. And I'd like to thank Councillor Menard, who has volunteered to be the council liaison for this advisory committee. Thank you, Councillor. Yes, and the report as amended, carried. Merci. Item 18, motion, stump grinding on private property. Motion plan de broyage des souches sur les propriétés privées. Carried. Broyage, that's a new word for me, dans la langue de Molière. Finance and Economic Development Committee, report number 1, rapport numéro 1 du Comité des finances et de développement économique. Item 19, Finance and Economic Development Committee, or FEDCO, terms of reference. Carried. Appointments to the French Language Services Advisory Committee, nomination au Comité consultatif sur les services en français. The members, les membres sont sur la page 17. Adopté. Je veux dire merci beaucoup à Conseiller Cloutier, qui est...
I'd like to thank Councillor Cloutier, who's the new liaison on this committee. And thank you to Eli El-Shantieri for his services over the past 4 years.
Boards of Management appointments 2018-2022, terms of council, conseil d'administration de zone d'amélioration commerciale, nomination, mandat de conseil de 2018 à 2022. Councillor Sons has a motion seconded by Councillor El-Shantieri with respect to the Canada Central BIA. Councillor Sons, please.
Whereas the BIA Board of Management Appointments Report was approved at the Finance and Economic Development Committee meeting on February 12, 2019, and whereas on February 22nd, Economic Development staff were provided with the minutes of the Canada Central BIA AGM of January 28, 2019, whereas the Canada Central BIA board members listed on the above report did not include Morgan Smith, who was confirmed as a member of the BIA board meeting. Therefore, be it resolved that Council approve the addition of Morgan Smith to the Canada Central Board of Directors.
Okay, on the motion, it's presented by Councillor Sud, seconded by Councillor El-Shantiri. Councillor El-Shantiri.
Not about the motion. I second that motion. But as the BIAs in this term, we used to have a council liaison. Have we selected council liaison to?
Volunteering?
No.
Do you want to be volunteering?
I'm just wondering if we have or we haven't.
Well, yeah, the council remains, and if you're willing to serve as my representative, I'd be delighted to have you. Everyone agree? Thank you, Eli.
Why did I ask?
But it's, it's actually, I try to go to all the meetings, but I'm not able to stay for the full meeting. And Eli has done a very good job because he not only has BIA in his community, but he's a former small business owner. And I think the council is a really good opportunity for other BIAs to share information and for the city and our staff at Economic Development to keep those folks in the loop because they're representing literally thousands of businesses in all parts of the city. So thank you very much for your work in the past, and if you agree to stay on, we'd be delighted to have you. So thank you. Councillor Sud, seconded by Councillor El-Shantiri's motion. Carried, adopté. Councillor Harder is going to remove item number H from the bulk consent agenda with respect to a motion that she has, and I have seconded it. So Councillor Harder, if you want, this is an additional member who has part of the catchment area of Barrhaven in his ward.
Sure. The Barrhaven BIA did make a change to add another business person, but I've been speaking to Councillor Moffat, who does represent part of Barrhaven, a small part, but it's ever growing. It's a growing piece. And he has expressed an interest in serving on the board as Barrhaven continues to grow south into Ward 21. So therefore be it resolved that recommendation 1 be amended to specify that the composition of the Barrhaven BIA Board of Management shall be 13 members, 3 of which shall be non-voting members of council. We play a non-voting role on that board. Be it further resolved that council approve the appointment of Councillor Moffat to the Barrhaven BIA Board of Management.
Great. On the motion, carried. So on item 21, as amended, carried. Sorry. And item H is amended as well. That's correct. Carried. Okay, Planning Committee report number 2, rapport numéro 2 du Comité de l'urbanisme, Ottawa Next Beyond 2038, l'Ottawa de demain après 2036, je m'excuse. Councillor Harder, Councillor Tierney, thank you very much. This is a big undertaking the Planning Committee is going to deal with for the next several years. So would you like to say a comment, Councillor?
Just to let everyone know that we're going to do we're going to hold the official launch twice on Monday, March the 4th. So if you're around, I would love you to participate in either the 12:30 event that's here or the 5:30 event, either or. It's a very important time in our city that we absolutely get to do not a refresh, not a renew, but a new official plan. And for all of us, it's an opportunity to work with our residents, our businesses, our colleagues across the city in this term to set the stage for the next decades of the City of Ottawa. So I really encourage you all to get involved. I really appreciate your input and your support in reaching out to the community. So we have, if you think about the people that were on the council, I think it was the last time around, the building A Livable Ottawa. We bragged about the fact that there was 3,000 people that engaged online involvement, if you will, with that process, and 3,000 was a record. In today's times with social media, I mean, we need to blow that through the roof. So I'm counting on all of you, you know, through Twitter, through articles, through Facebook, et cetera, through public meetings to really engage the public, and let's build something for the future of the City of Ottawa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Anyone else on Ottawa beyond 2036? And Mr. Willis, I know you're going to be very engaged and busy with this file along with your staff, so we thank you in advance. So on item 22, carried. Item 23, Official Plan Amendment 180, Appeal Settlement Canada West, Règlement de l'appel relatif à la modification 180 au Plan officiel Canada West. Carried. Item 24, motion, City Appeal to Ministerial Modification Number 2 to Official Plan Amendment Number 180, OPA 180, modification, appel de la Ville sur la modification ministérielle numéro 2 de la modification au Plan officiel 180, MPO numéro 180. Carried. Transit Commission Report Number 1, rapport numéro 1 de la Commission de Transport en Commun. Item 25, Transit Commission Terms of Reference, mandate de la Commission de Transport en Commun. Carried. Transit Commission Report 1A in camera, rapport numéro 1A de la Commission de Transport en Commun à huis clos. I don't believe there's I know the Commission went into in camera to discuss this labor matter, but I don't believe there's a need to go in camera. It's pretty straightforward collective agreement matter. Does anyone wish to go in camera to ask any questions about it? So on the report, carried, and I thank QP 5500 and our city staff for reaching a amicable settlement. Bulk consent agenda. Does anyone, we've removed item H, as you know, but does anyone else want to remove anything from the bulk consent agenda at this time? Anyone? So on the bulk consent agenda as presented, carried. All right, we're on to page 33. Disposition of items approved by committees under delegated authority suite à données des articles ratifiés par les comités en vertu de pouvoirs délégués. Received. A motion to adopt reports. Motion portant adoption de rapport. Councillor Hubley, please. Seconded by Councillor McKinney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That the following reports be received and adopted as amended. Report from the Ottawa Community Housing Corporation entitled Ottawa Community Housing Corporation Confirmation and Re-election of the Chair. Report from the Ottawa Police Service Board entitled Board Activity Training and Performance 2018 Annual Report. Report from the Selection Panel, Ottawa Police Service Board entitled Appointment, Ottawa Police Service Board. Report from the Selection Panel from the Ottawa Community Lands Development Corporation Board of Directors entitled Appointments to the Ottawa Community Land Development Corporation Board of Directors. Report from the Selection Panel, Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority entitled Appointment to the Mississippi Valley Conservation Authority. The report from the Selection Panel, Rideau Valley Conservation Authority entitled Appointments to the Rideau Valley Conservation Authority. And the report from the Selection Panel from the South Nation Conservation entitled Appointment to the South Nation Conservation. Report from the City Clerk and Solicitor entitled Status Update, Council Inquiries and Motions for the period ending February 22nd, 2019. And Agricultural Rural Affairs Committee Report 1, Community and Protective Services Committee Report 1, Standing Committee on Environmental Protection, Water and Waste Management Report 1, Finance Economic Development Committee Report 1, Planning Committee Report 2, Transit Commission Report 1 and 1A, and finally the report from the City Clerk and Solicitor entitled a summary of oral and written public submissions for items subject to the Planning Act explanation requirements at City Council meeting of January 30th, 2019.
Okay, on the motion as presented by Councillor Hubly. Carried. Thank you. Motions requiring suspension of the rules of procedure. Motion exigeant la suspension des règles de procédure. Councillor Deans has a motion that's time sensitive, seconded by Councillor Kavanagh on suspension of the rules. Carried. Councillor Deans, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas in 1910, women delegates from around the world met in Copenhagen to propose that Women's Day become an international event to promote equal rights for women, and whereas the first International Women's Day was held in 1911, and whereas in 1977, the United Nations officially called for all countries to mark a day for the recognition of women's economic, political, and social achievements, and whereas we are witnessing a significant rise in women's activism and a deepening resolve to reject gender discrimination in all its forms. And whereas every year thousands of events are held around the world to inspire and celebrate and honor women, therefore be it resolved that Ottawa City Council declare March 8th, 2019 to be International Women's Day in the City of Ottawa. And I would just like to say a few words on that, Mr. Mayor. I am incredibly proud to move this motion each year to mark March 8th as International Women's Day in the City of Ottawa. At this time last year, I told Council that as a city, I believed we needed to take action to bring a greater and more sustained focus on gender equity issues locally. I am very proud that as a result of last fall's municipal election, the number of women members on this council has grown from 4 to 7, and I am tremendously grateful that this council has recently approved Councillor Kavanagh as the City of Ottawa's first liaison for women and gender equity. This was a position that Councillor McKenney and I, along with all of our amazing women's organizations in this city, worked very hard to secure. I am also extremely pleased that on March 8th, the city will launch the Women and Gender Equity Strategy. I am hopeful that we see real action from this, but also stay and celebrate those who continue to strive for equality and excellence for women. Together, we will make a difference. And I will be hosting, as I always do, my International Women's Day breakfast on March 8th. I know the Mayor and Councillor Brockington, and I'm not sure if anyone else is also holding a Women's Day celebration, so I hope you will all join in the celebration of women's rights and their struggle for equality in the City of Ottawa. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Deans. Councillor Kavanagh, please.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to give my thanks to Councillor Deans and Councillor McKenney for all the hard work they did to make this liaison position possible, and for bringing it forward, the idea that a Women's Bureau is important. We've done a lot of good work, but there's a lot more work to do, and I want to thank them for the groundwork that they have done on this. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And as Councillor Deans mentioned, I also have my annual Women's Day breakfast, and we have Dr. Jane Philpott, the President of the Treasury Board, is one of our guests, and co-hosting with Councillor Kavanagh, who is going to be talking about the work that she's been doing in her new capacity. And just yesterday, I think we had confirmation of a very special guest that we can't announce today, but I think it'll be a great addition to the lineup of people who will be speaking here at Jean Piggott Hall and the Council Chamber. So on Councillor Dean's motion, seconded by Councillor Kavanagh, carried. Notice the motion for consideration at subsequent meetings. Councillor Moffat, please, seconded by Councillor Menard. Councillor Moffat.
Thank you. It's just a notice of motion to carry on with Michelle Kearney as the city's representative on the Source Protection Committee for the under the Clean Water Act and the Mississippi Rideau Valley Conservation Authorities. It's just a notice of motion.
We'll deal with that at the next meeting. Are there any other notices of motion for consideration at subsequent meeting? No? Okay. Motion to introduce bylaws. Motion portant de présentation de règlement. Councillor Hubly, please, seconded by Councillor McKenney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That the bylaws listed on the agenda under motion to introduce bylaws, 3 readings, be read and passed. Thank you.
Carried. It's so nice to see a Hubly-McKenney motion. So rare.
You may want to frame it, Mr. Mayor.
You may want to frame it.
Thank you. Next is confirmation bylaw, règlement de ratification. Councillor Hubley and McKenney again.
That the following bylaw be read and passed to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting of the 27th of February 2019.
Carried. Yeas and nays. Just to remind members of the public and the media and staff that our special council meeting will still start at 1 p.m. just because we finished this meeting early. We've advertised it and we have delegations coming, assuming the meeting starts at 1, which it will. Do we have any written inquiries, Madam Deputy Clerk? Adjournment, Councillor Hubley and McKenney.
That the proceeding of the City Council meeting on February 27, 2019 be adjourned.
On the motion, carried. Adopté. Merci. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, somebody asked me and I said...